Hi everyone, this is Adam. I put together a little video series that we're going to be doing in the next couple days on thinking errors. And the thinking errors I'm going to talk about are really focused on what makes us take more risk in our jobs and what makes that work procedure when we take a risky work procedure feel normal to us, or our risk acceptance level is going to be higher. Through this series, we're going to talk about understanding our own risk levels, what made us be able to take the risk or want to take the risk that we've already taken, and that understanding why we got to that point, as well as understanding how to break that cycle of taking those risks. So to start off with, I'd like to talk to you, and some of you may know I've already talked in some places about breaking the training work procedure cycle. For 20 to 30 years, we have went through a cycle in our industry and in our state where we get trained through apprenticeship programs and other places to do something properly, following lockout, tagout. We never start working on a line and consider it dead until we have got our visual opens, we've tagged the source, and we ground on both sides of a down line or grounded appropriately to protect us. And this is something that when we got back to the job sites for years, we've been told, hey, that's not the way we do it here. And we continue that cycle. We haven't broke that cycle wholeheartedly in some places. In some places we have, but it's an ever-going evolution, and that's part of what we're going to talk about. So whose responsibility is it for safe work procedures? I'm going to ask you guys that. Think about it. It's up to each one of us, right? If we're going to break this cycle, and if I'm really worried about my safety and I want to go home, it's up to me to do the right thing. That means I'm going to have to speak up. That means I'm not going to let somebody else put me in that position where I'm taking more risk than what I should be taking. These are the three big things for me that I think we need to address as a state and as a cooperatives in the state to make sure that we're doing things the right way in the highest risk scenarios that we have. So each of these job briefings are going to play a very vital role in us breaking this cycle and doing things the correct way. It stops, makes us think, slows us down, and when we put ourselves in that position, we have more of a chance of making an intentional decision to do the right thing and follow proper work procedures. Lockout, tagout, and grounding, we've talked about over and over again the past year, how each one of those steps goes together to keep us working safely. It's not a piece by piece, I'm going to take this piece or that piece to get a wholehearted safe culture to work under, where I've mitigated all the risks of somebody re-energizing on me, of a member backfeeding on me. Then I've taken all those parts of lockout, tagout, grounding, and I'm using them all together to give me the best protection on the job site. And rubber gloves, sleeves, and covering different potentials. When I get within 2 foot 2 inches or within minimum approach, I should be working with a single potential zone. In other words, I need to have my gloves and sleeves on as my last line of protection, but in the meantime, I also need to cover up different potentials in that work area, that 2 foot 2 inch extended reach area from me. And we're going to discuss as we go through here how each of these is vital. So what is acceptable risk? For each one of us growing up, what we'll learn is that there's different risk levels each of us are willing to accept as we do different procedures or we do different things through life. So how do we calculate risk? Really, we calculate risk by looking at the probability of what can happen, of what's going to happen, the hazard, and the end result. What happens is we take a shortcut and we say, okay, I can do this and I'm still going to be safe because I'm doing 1 and 2 without doing number 3, is the next time we do that, our acceptable risk goes up. So the amount of risk we're willing to accept, the more we take that, doesn't look like risk anymore. It looks like just normal, safe work procedures. And that's really what we're trying to get away from. So, when I start off and I do the work procedure as I'm taught from day one, I have the hazard completely mitigated. I've taken every step in my job procedure. My risk level is very low. What ends up happening is as I take a first shortcut, and that first shortcut already, when I successfully complete it and complete the job, the reward of getting it already raises my my accepted risk level. when I take another shortcut, it keeps happening. The more this happens and the more that cycle happens, the more that risk level tends to go away. And so what we're going to talk about in the next two series is understanding what makes that happen, why we take risks in the first place, and also how to correct that risk. So I thank you guys, and I look forward to talking to you soon.